Hello Medica Gallery, this is Ian. Yes, the phone number I can give you. My name is Ian Roberts. I'm an artist living in the centre of the universe at Blyth. Everything radiates out from here. I'm 63 years old and been painting for 30 years. So people might think I'm a bird painter, which is probably the term most people would use for what I do, but I'm really a plant painter. I also have done what I'd call creative bird and flower paintings, where it's just what I want to do. I don't care whether people like the feather detail, I don't care whether they like the flower detail, it's what I want to do, and I'm happy with the result. Well, I say I'm an artist, but I always say it as though, oh gee, I don't know whether that's going to go down too well, you know, that's a pretty arty-farty, airy-fairy kind of an occupation to have. So I'm always a bit hesitant to say that I'm an artist. I was a farmer before I became a painter. So Dad was a farmer, Grandpa was a farmer. Before that they were cousin Jack miners at Moonda Kadina and went into farming country. I left school at 15 because I didn't like the fear factor at school, getting the cane and all that sort of thing. So I had a chance to leave school and become a farmer. So I wasn't a natural born farmer by any means. And I was sitting on the tractor going round and round, had all these ideas for painting, could only do about 4 a year and then had to relearn. Every time I did a painting I was just relearning the same thing. Had no idea about papers, brushes, colours, the whole thing. So I did a 6-month TAFE course and then that really helped to cement a few ideas. But going around on the tractor was really the catalyst to get me into painting full time because I had too many ideas and I couldn't do them. Well, I didn't know you could be a painter. I didn't know painters existed when I went to school. Mum and Dad had dairy cows 365 days of the year, so we didn't travel, no holidays while I was a kid, so I didn't see anything. I've just been reading my school reports from when I was a little tacker, and year after year, he's a bit of a chatterbox, and he could be tidier. And I think nothing's changed. I'm 63. This is an interesting piece for me because it's got the two birds that I had at the gallery right from the word go and became a bit of a tourist attraction in their own right. They just wandered around here in the gallery, would walk under people's feet and sit on their hand and do all sorts of things. And the eucalypt is one from the Blyth Plains. It's called Red Mallee, and so because of my major interest in eucalypts, the combination of the two is a bit special to me. The birds are cockatiels, and they're a bird that erupts into this area about every 10, 15 years, and then you won't see them again for years. So the gallery is in what was the former St Petra Kirky Lutheran Church, and the local electrician who was storing junk in here, he said, well, why don't we do up the old Lutheran church? So we did, and it turned out my grandmother worshipped here, so it was a nice thing to come back and take over the place that she worshipped at. We really worked hard to get it back into shape. But people volunteered their help. Walking past the door, they'd come in and lend a hand with the painting, so it was a bit of a community thing, even though it was a private enterprise. The night we'd finished, we had it all set up, the exhibition was ready to go, opening the next day, sat in the corner with a beer, and you could cut the atmosphere. It was just beautiful, and it made me realise that churches are built to this shape for a reason, that they'd worked out that it gave a sense of spirit in the building, and we sensed that night. It was just really beautiful. I've tried to paint quickly, and I just was not happy with the result at all. In fact, I was quite disgusted with it, and I thought I can't do that ever again. And so just seeing a plant in flower will be enough to kick off an idea for a painting. So then my brain starts to think, what birds can I put with that? And so then I start to think about composition. I've probably put about 100,000 plants in the ground. About 40,000 I would think have survived. So I consider it my gym exercise, cheaper than going to the gym. And I grow them all myself, so it's not like I'm spending money buying the plants in the first place. So I bring them in and set them up in a vase. So they're all things mostly that I've grown myself. I've got probably 2,500 species, so there's enough variety there to keep me going forever. Well, I work mainly on Arches paper, so either the smooth or medium rough, and the very start of the painting is to start drawing the plant. I use a 5H pencil for the drawing, which is very hard, and there wouldn't be an art teacher in the world that would recommend a 5H, but I like the lack of graphite that's being smudged on the paper. I like clean paper when I've finished, but you've got to be careful. There's not much room for rubbing out using a 5H, and then it's basically just straight into it with the watercolour brush, which for me is a number 3 sable, and that pretty much does the whole painting. If I didn't have a number 3 brush, I couldn't paint, and if it didn't have a point, a really fine point, then I can't paint. I'll just have to wait till I go to Adelaide and get another one. So when my grandchildren come in and are playing around with my brushes, I'm pretty careful to watch them to see they don't pick up the one that I use the most. Growing up, I thought I came through probably the best times for Blyth. We had lots of footy teams, netball teams. There were theatre groups running in other places that you could go to. So it's been a bit disappointing to see all of that fall away. There are very few community events now held in a place, in any town, and as much in Blyth. And so the chance for the community to meet has really just dropped away, and I find that a bit sad. Yeah, well, I think one of the things when you live in a country town, you have the ups and downs. You can't hide from anything. And so the biggest down in my life has been the closure of the Blyth Hospital and what it meant for the town, the loss of shops, the loss of community. It was a place that you went from birth to death. And to lose that was a major blow to the town, but a major blow to my own psyche for probably 2 or 3 years. And it took a bit of recovering from. If you don't live in the country, you just wouldn't care, I suppose. It just closes. It's just another business that's gone. 10 years ago, I formed a community committee, and we started the Blyth Cinema. The cinema is what was the former Masonic Hall, which closed in 2000. I wandered across the road and thought, if it goes cheap enough, I'll put a bid in. And if there'd been one more bid, we wouldn't be talking about it. Still, even 10 years later, people wander in for the first time and they are gobsmacked that it's like a city cinema. They were expecting chairs rolling around on the floor and no acoustics and no air conditioning and just basically a horrible old town hall. And so they're just shocked by the quality. They can't believe that it could happen in a small town. I like that. For me, running the Blyth Cinema has allowed me to re-engage with community. We get 100 people there every few weeks, and so you've got this crowd coming together, chatting, talking. It's not only are people coming into Blyth to watch movies, they're also using the other facilities in the town, like the Blyth Hotel. The Blyth Community Hall Committee cater for multiple functions over a year, which helps keep that place looking modern. So it's been a real boon to lots of other things. We advertise any event in the arts or any event really on screen before the movie for free. So that's been a help to those organisations. I think it helps to keep young professionals in the place. They no longer feel as though they're living in a really isolated place with no decent social facilities. So I think it's a really important thing to have. I feel that my body came out of the molecules of the Blyth soil. You know, Dad killed sheep that had eaten the grass, and so I came out of the soil of Blyth, and I think I'm as inextricably linked to the soil and the whole Blyth area, and so everything I do is really linked to my love for this place. That drives me, I suppose, and I just happen to have lots of ideas. I came to realise that my ideas are social ideas, they might be a bit linked to art, but they're more about social facilities, where other people have ideas about making money in business. I've just come to realise that mine are about social things. I mean, I think my sort of painting is probably, I'm becoming ancient with the ancient form of painting that I'm doing. Instagram, the whole lot, it's all about visual images now in a modern sense. I think it's a wondrous thing that you can take a white sheet of paper and turn it into something that no one else has ever done. It belongs to you personally, but it's shared with other people, but it's just something that I can do that no one else has been able to do. And I think it is a wondrous thing. And I've been very lucky. You know, Dad hadn't left me the farm, if you like. He's still alive, but if Dad hadn't said, well, here's the farm and you don't have to pay me back, then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I find it devastating that we can't support really good artists in just the Clare Valley, never mind all the other places in Australia, but there are artists in the Clare Valley who are as good as anybody in Australia, but they've got to be teachers or do something, work in the vineyards to get enough money to be able to paint for an exhibition. And I think that's a bit of a tragedy, really, that we can't support creative people. I've never had a time where I just felt I had nothing left to paint. And in the last 10 years, I've gone back to painting eucalypt seedlings, sort of gone full circle. And that's really what I want to do all the time. So the birds have pretty much disappeared out of my painting. And now I just concentrate on getting 50 to 70 eucalypt seedlings of different varieties done each year. I mean, I've been very privileged to work for 30 years full-time, painting what I want to paint. You know, I just see so many that can't do that. I'm just happy to be doing what I'm able to do.